Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on the channel. Today I am sharing my April reading journal setup with you all, and each month I choose between either a romance or a fantasy novel. This month is romance, and if you can't already tell by the collage I am setting up here on my front cover, the book I chose is 𝓘𝓽𝓮𝓮 by Sally Thorne. This was one of the very first romances I read back when I got into reading again in 2021, and I enjoyed it at the time. Sally Thorne is definitely an author that you either like or you don't. She has a very quirky sense of writing style, and I admittedly didn't get into it until halfway through this book where I really started to enjoy it. I ended up giving this book 5 stars when I did read it, but I wonder if I would feel the same now that I'm more read. All the same, I really did enjoy this book and the feelings that came with it. I love a good workplace romance and rivals to enemies. I wouldn't really say that this is an enemies to lovers. I think there's a lot more going on to the storyline than that, but I did really enjoy the banter and the lead up of the romance and all the tension that came with that. It's one of my favourite things. So that is why I've chosen to do this month with that theme and this book. However, I did struggle a little bit with the creative direction with setting this up, and I think it's just down to not having enough supplies. So I really wanted to use this strawberry paper and these little tags that are very spring-like as the setup pieces along with the collage. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of pens that go well on black paper still. I need to go off to the shops and buy some more paint pens aside from the Acrylographs pack that I have. I've only got the one pack, and so to try and work with this I used a dark green grey acrylograph and the lilac colour from the warm full acrylograph pack that I have, and I don't think those colours really go well together with this. I mean, I'm not hating on it completely, but it is a little bit not my favourite theme, to be honest, for the book so far this year. I also tried to use one of the white acrylographs for the A. That's why it's a little bit smudged on arcs. It didn't show up on paper, so I went back to my tried and trusty jelly roll with the stamp effect. It works really well on the black paper. I use this often in my everyday journal over top of colours that I've put down, so I knew it would work well. Um, I'm not sure how I'm going to utilise this journal over the month of April just yet. Hopefully it'll work out well and I won't get too annoyed with the fact that the colours don't match, but it is set up okay enough and I've got enough room to grow into the space. So if you're new here, this page here I used mainly to write down what I read each month in the grid section, and I use it every day so I know what arcs I need to read, and I try to write down what books I buy as well on the bottom. This page here is my usual info dump page, so I have my TBR, buddy reads, prompts and library books all on this 2-page spread, and I decided that I would use these tags and just put both headers on the same one simply because I didn't have enough of them to separate, and they're actually quite big so they do take up a lot of space. However, I do make a little bit of a mistake in a moment when setting up the boxes to tick everything off or colour them in and say that I've finished them, but this page is quite simple. It has been quite simple all year long, I think. I did try to add in some more collage pieces to bring a little bit more interest to the page. But overall I do feel it's just more so a page that I put down information on rather than anything else. Because the light of the lamp above that helps you guys see, I actually can't see the boxes or the grids or anything that I marked down very well. It's much easier for me to see on this black paper when there's no lights above. And so I ended up making that mistake there, but it was a very easy fix. I just used my black marker and then went over top with some washi tape, and you can't even tell. Here is where I start to add in a little bit more elements to the page, because right now it's quite bland, and I use these two extra collage pieces that I had left. You can't really see what it says on the white piece of paper because of the light, but it says nemesis and then bracket noun. I thought that was quite a cute piece. And then another one with the lipsticks and her blotting her lipstick because that's an important piece to the story. These little strawberries and hearts were elements that I wanted to add in all over the book, and I do go back and add them in, but it was such a pain trying to stick them all down. I've done my best to keep it all off camera for you all and not have all the sticking in of things and me pulling off the double-sided tape, so there's a lot of little jumps throughout this setup. I also ended up having to cut some of the footage of the reading log, which we're setting up right now, simply because my head got really badly in the way. As you can tell, I really can't see those dots unless I'm like right over the paper getting the lighting out of the way for me. And I took the time to stick down all my little star ratings off camera. We're now on to the last page that we have to set up in this journal, which I'm very excited for. It was a very easy setup in aspects of time. It didn't take me too long to do, and if you're interested, I have the whole footage of me setting this up that I could just put up in real time for those who like to watch long format videos. I ended up listening to an audiobook when I was filming this last night, so I'm completely quiet so you can hear all that ASMR of turning pages and sticking things down and all that in the footage, which is kind of cool because normally I have music blasting and obviously because I do voiceovers it doesn't really matter, but I was so silent listening to this audiobook last night that really captivated me. It was called Some Mistakes Were Made by Kristen Diewer. I really can't say her last name. So yeah, it was good. And I chose the wrong pen here. I have to admit that this colour does not show up on paper, and I ended up using 3 other colours instead from my jelly rolls for the inputting of data that I will be doing off camera. I also forgot to add on the monthly view when filming this the key for the grid on for the calendar, because I use different coloured pens to mark whether or not I read a physical book, ebook or audiobook, but I've done that off camera and you'll be able to see that when we go through the flip through of my book for the stats at the end of April. So here I am just sticking in those final little elements, and we're now at the very end of this video for the final flip through. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope you're all well. If you can't tell, I'm a little bit under weather at the moment, but hopefully I'll be back with some new videos very soon. I've got quite a few that I need to film and I can't wait to share them with you all. So thank you again for spending some time with me, and I hope you're all well. Bye everyone.